now. Okay, the Twitter space is started. And I am also going to share the link and send it to more people. Then we can also start our session over here. Hello everyone, welcome to Beamswap and Interlay Join AMA. This is your host, Moonlight from Interlay. Our guest speakers today are Alex from Interlay and Jay from Moonbeam. Jay is Beamswap business developer and Alex Interlay's product manager. Let's give a warm welcome. And first thing first, I would like to invite Jay from Beamswap to introduce yourself. Thank you.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Jay the Crypto Krill. As Moonlight said, I'm the business developer here at Beamswap, which we'll talk more about. Anyways, so what we're doing here is we're teaming up to swap some talk, discuss DeFi and project updates with Beamswap and Interlay. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm Alex, product manager at Interlay. Been with Interlay for, I think, from the start of the year. And yeah, happy to be here today and answer all of the questions regarding Interlay. And yeah, just have a good chat and hopefully we can answer all of the questions.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, and how about let's first starting from Jay from Beamswap. Let's talk about introduction of Beamswap program to the audience, and also we're actually multi-streaming. Yeah, we do both Zoom meeting and also Twitter space as well. So we have our listeners and our audience, yeah, from different places around the world. And microphone bring to Jay to talk about the Beamswap program to everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, so a little bit about Beamswap. We are a community-driven DeFi hub and built on the Moonbeam Network. We're DEX and AMM. We want to give our users the freedom of adding liquidity and performing peer-to-peer transactions, swapping tokens, staking and yielding, and much more. But also, we aim to facilitate the growth of the Moonbeam ecosystem and act as a gateway for new projects developing on the network. Our team's mission is to aid in the multi-chain vision and to serve as a host for projects on Moonbeam and Polkadot.
Awesome. And the same question also goes to Alex from Interlay as well. Yeah, for our audience who are not familiar with what Interlay is, could you please introduce the team to everyone as well, the program? Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. So Interlay is a native project on Kusama and Polkadot. On Kusama, we're known as Kintsugi. We focus on building decentralized and interoperable assets. Our main flagship product is iBTC, which is a trustless and insured version of Bitcoin that enables users to kind of use Bitcoin in DeFi currently within the Polkadot ecosystem, and the grand vision is to be on any chain and fully decentralized. So that's kind of in a nutshell about the product. As for the team, it's kind of like a very diverse group all across the world, fully remote. The two co-founders also PhDs and have been doing research for a long time with a focus on Bitcoin and how to kind of get it out there in the DeFi space. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much for the answers. And also, yeah, same question goes to Jay from Beamswap. Could you please also let us know about the team? And I know that's super early at your side, right? Oh my, thank you for joining today's Join AMA.
Hey, no worries. So a little bit about the Beamswap team. We represent a tight-knit group of about 10 members, and we're crypto veterans with a strong background and years of experience in Web3 development, DeFi, strategic marketing, and we work tirelessly to deliver outstanding service and scout new partnership opportunities to bring our amazing community and add evolution of the Moonbeam Network and the greater Polkadot ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Jay. And then next, we'd also like to learn more about each of your teams. So question to Alex, what was the inception behind Interlay and iBTC or Inter? Thank you.
Sure thing. I mean, I'm speaking from third party here because it's actually Alexia and Dom who kind of jumped on this problem, but they've been thinking for a long time about how to actually enable users to kind of use all assets within DeFi, in particular Bitcoin, right? Because the Bitcoin native blockchain doesn't support anything beyond the asset itself, right? But how to do this in a fully trustless manner so that even if, for example, Interlay would not be here anymore, right? The DAO behind it and the community and the whole service would actually exist and function properly and let users kind of continue to use Bitcoin anywhere, right? This is the kind of the huge mountain or target that they started, and Interlay is trying to kind of reach, and this is where it all began, right? How to do that, and then kind of let it run, and it runs by itself.
Awesome, thank you so much. And we also have seen that Beamswap has a lot of milestones, right? So Jay, could you please let us know some of the most important ones that you would like to share with the audience? Thank you.
Well, we've been operating for about 10 months now, and we've had quite a few milestones. Actually, just last week, we've hit over $400 million in volume to date on our platform with over 900,000 transactions. I mean, and to further add to that, we have over 20,000 unique users with 2.2 new unique users on average a month that have never interacted with our platform. And we're also the top held token on the Moonbeam Network, but we're also focused on adding native assets and things like that. So that's where things like Interlay's iBTC, or Sama's governance token is. Recently, we've added Polkadot native USDT as well. So had quite a few milestones.
Nice, yeah, and I also enjoy watching a lot of the videos that Jay created. And so, friends, if you would like to, be sure to follow both our speakers' Twitter handles, and especially follow Beamswap and Interlay, that you are going to receive more updates from them. And next question goes back to Alex from Interlay. So, why Interlay choose to join the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem first? Thank you.
Yeah, I already mentioned that the product or the service that we're trying to build relies heavily on the community taking over and it working in an open and trustless way, regardless of who joins the community and who governs it, right? And it's not Interlay or a centralized party that will govern the product. And so from this perspective, I think Polkadot focusing on governance and also on the open and interoperable system was quite a good fit for us as a blockchain, kind of as a home HQ to begin with. If you're adding to that also having the Kusama parachains and also Polkadot, where we can experiment on the Kusama parachain with Kintsugi, this is kind of an added bonus and was quite a straightforward choice for us.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing the information. So next, we would like to also ask Jay from Beamswap to share some more details in terms of the strategic partnership between Beamswap and Interlay. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so with the strategic partnership with Interlay, like I said, we want to aim to streamline the way Beamswap and Moonbeam users explore new DeFi possibilities and earn rewards on things like iBTC. But also, it's a really great way to explore the power of utilizing experienced in XCM-enabled assets like Bitcoin in the Polkadot realm.
I see. Wow. Yeah, and we do really, grateful that the two teams could partner together and work on more projects together in the long run as well. So question back to Alex. We heard about the governance, right? So why is governance so important to Interlay? Thank you.
Yeah. The way that the team is built up and also the product has governance at its root. So a lot of actually most of the decisions that happen, whether it's an upgrade or a financial change to the product, is actually goes under governance. And we put great strides and efforts to also educate the community on how they can use this power and take this power just so that the community gets used to it. For us, it's an essential ingredient in actually achieving our goal, right? This trustless version of an asset and a service, right? If the community doesn't use the power, then it's not actually a decentralized system, right? Even if the power is there, if nobody uses it, right, it's not going to work. So this is why for us, governance is kind of a key aspect to building a trustless product and service.
I see. Thank you for the information. Yeah, and once again, we do know that there are a lot of new audience and new listeners, right? Probably first time coming to our space. So if you haven't give our guest speakers or their projects a follow, be sure to do that. And they are from Beamswap and Interlay. And then last but not least, we also would like to bring the microphone back to Jay from Beamswap, asking about, since we talk about some details between Beamswap and Interlay's partnership, could you please introduce some more information about iBTC farm on Beamswap? Thank you.
Absolutely. So regarding our farm, with our partnership and through Interlay's governance, actually, we were able to open up an XC iBTC and USD farm where users can opt to stake their iBTC and USDC for triple rewards in Glint or Tide and XC Inter. But I actually do want to touch back on what you were saying, Alex, you know, the importance of governance and people being able to have that voice and to choose and have really take part in the community aspect of it. I think it's really interesting stuff. We're hoping to enact something very soon, something similar soon with our Beamshare, with future governance as well. Like I said, it's critical that people have a voice in the decisions with our platforms going forward, and I think it's just really important. And to want to educate those users and have conversations like these to really make people aware of what we're doing and having them play a critical role in it.
Nice. Thank you so much for both our speakers for sharing information on Beamswap and Interlay, and also congratulations to the partnership between the two teams. Do we have any time or to take some questions from our audience? Or are we able to receive questions from Lynn over here at our Zoom? Let me see.
There hasn't been any questions yet on our end.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And yeah, and also, yeah, I also do not see friends raise your hand, but yeah, if we have any audience who would like to ask questions, feel free to raise your hand and join our stages. Yeah, there are two different platforms that we are live streaming right now. One is Twitter Space and the other is at our Zoom meeting room. So it's a very, very special event for us because the first time that we do multi-streaming together, and looking forward to more of our joint AMA together as well.
Okay, Alex, so we have a question from our community here in Beamswap. The question is what is it about iBTC that you find most important and valuable to the whole Polkadot ecosystem?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I covered it in the initial answer, but on Interlay, anybody can become a vault and host or become a custodian for Bitcoin, right? So a user comes in, issues iBTC, they transfer the Bitcoin to the vault, right? And then the vault safeguards it and backs it up with collateral, which is why we say that the Bitcoin is insured. So that's the first part, and it's open because anybody can become a vault, right? So they can also host their own Bitcoin. And I think this adds a layer of safety. Either you get your Bitcoin back right when you redeem, or in case something happens to the vault, then the collateral is sent to you, and it's generally above the, let's say it's above the initial value of the Bitcoin, right? So it's slightly over collateralized to compensate for anything. So I'm starting with this because generally the question is, okay, like why would I take the risk of issuing iBTC or any other version, right, for this? But and then they generally kind of do the trade-off between the benefits, right? Like iBTC will allow me to go and make use of my my BTC as an asset, right? On different DeFi services or products, right? But is it worth the risk, right? And this is where we try to kind of remove these barriers. And one of them is this openness of the vault system, right? And the insurance part, right? That you're covered. So it's quite low risk to actually use iBTC, at least to issue it, right? Like it's a big world out there after when you decide to kind of move it around. And then the second part is, of course, that we're trying to decentralize everything apart about the service, right? From collators and vaults to oracles and also the governance, right? So that not even Interlay has full control, right? If the community deems that they want to open a pool on Beamswap or any other decentralized exchange, right, with everything that iBTC represents, right, they will be able to do that. And I think that's a key advantage, right, of using the product. I hope that answered your question.
And actually, I do have a question. Can you go a little bit further into just how Inter actually plays a role with the governance process? And I'm assuming folks submit a proposal, which we saw, and then it goes to referenda. Just talk a little bit about the governance process.
Sure thing. So Inter is, I would say, both has both utility function and governance function. The main one being the governance function. It plays a role there. Users have to stake Inter in order to get the Inter, which is the actual voting power of that token, right? And this is also kind of a sign of faith or I don't know, belief in iBTC or in Interlay. Once they stake, they can vote and use it in governance, but the Inter also comes back to users and vaults based on usage and as rewards when they're safeguarding the Bitcoin, right, in the vaults. So it's quite integrated, and there's further plans to kind of delve deeper with all of the kind of continued products and services that we add to Interlay and iBTC.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I guess
I also have received a question from our end over here. So one of our members asking, how does iBTC work? Do users need to stake BTC and then stake equal amount of DOT or Inter on chain in order to mint iBTC?
Sure. So as a user, you if you want to issue iBTC, all you need is your Bitcoin and a bit of Inter for fees. And you go to our app, you go to the bridge, you select to issue. You don't have to be a vault to host your own Bitcoin in order to issue iBTC. That's an option if you wish it, but that's not mandatory, right? That's not the use case for users. So only in general, only your Bitcoin is needed. You get an issue request that you initiate, transfer the Bitcoin based on let's say the issue details. And once the confirmations are in based on the transfer, you get the iBTC that you can then use.
Thank you so much for the clarification. Yeah, I think that's all from our end as well.
So Alex, let me ask you this question. What really has you excited about XCM enabled assets? I mean,
XCM.
XCM assets.
Yeah. So I use this example quite a lot, and it's not just with like I'm gonna go a long roundabout way. I think it was in not even the 90s, right? Like 70s or 80s when there was this guy, John Carmack, and some might know him, is like Masters of Doom. He co-created the Doom game, but at the time, initially it was a certain Japanese console company that actually was dominating games with Mario, and they were struggling at that time through the technology to actually put forward to do the same animations, right? and they struggled a lot by having to deal with the technology in front until they figured out a way. What got their success also was that they put the technology behind it, right? So they made games that were fun based on the technology that they had, but they never showed the technology to the user. They just made incredible big scary monsters for the time and then gave you a big gun to shoot them, right? So in a similar kind of like the reason I mentioned that is that right now, and even on other protocols, there's a lot of technology that's put in front of the user, right? You need, I don't know, the equivalent of a university degree to know how to safeguard your assets and also to transfer everything across, right? And kind of not like deal with impermanent loss, you know, like take some economics courses and so on. And I think this is just right now, and there's been progress consistently on putting all of this hurdle behind and just making it easy. And this is where I got excited about XCM, right? And the principle behind XCM is that interoperability and transfers of assets should not be complicated, right?
Right.
And you can see that because a lot of the dApps on Polkadot have their own interface to just say, yeah, sure, like we have a transfer service, like everybody has a transfer service. Transferring between parachains is not a problem, right? And this should be the normal state, right? Like it shouldn't even have a window. It should just say like, yes, you have your iBTC. Where would you like us to send it? It's like, yeah. So this is why I think XCM is a really good step in the right direction, right? Of simplifying things and putting it behind. We handle the complexity, right, by integrating the XCM channels. But beyond that, the user doesn't care, right? I'm able to transfer, and this is no longer a insurmountable challenge.
Right, and we've had a lot of progress with things like XC as well as the other parachains now, which I think is exciting because, I mean, to even discuss one thing further is like we have all these separate networks from Moonbeam Network to Kala, Aster, and things like that, which in and of themselves, they are their own ecosystems housed under this one house of Polkadot. And I think as we explore things and really move forward with things like iBTC and things like that, we're talking borderless crypto or networkless crypto, essentially crypto without borders. And I think it's a really exciting time, and especially as you were saying, is the easier it gets for users and stuff to obtain these assets and things like that without even thinking about it. That's where we're really going to start seeing things like mass adoption and effects. In my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure, Jay, if you had to suffer through this, right? But if I wanted to play in the 2000s, right? If I wanted to play with somebody, or even the 90s, right? You would, I think it was post modem noises, right? To connect, but you would have to go through different connections and processes just to kind of make that internet connection work, so that you can play a network, right?
Absolutely.
Right now, all of this, right? Like, I don't know, you have kids that are just like, oh, I don't know, I connected and we had like 60, 70, 800 players, right? Going, and I managed to do this or that. They don't know if it was on one protocol or the other, or an engine or the other, right? Or what they used to do it. They just know that they could do it with one button, right? So we're getting closer to that, right? But it's still too much in front, right? For the user.
Yes, and that's why I think it's like I said, for our platform, it's important that we also really focus on the new native assets and things like that, because ultimately, like I said, we're trying to bring all these parachains and things like that, and really just bring them all closer together in, like I said, under the one house of Polkadot. And I think, like I said, it's going to take time, but I think we're getting there, and we're seeing that. I mean, even recently, I mean, there's talks about bringing Polkadot native USDC.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's great, right? Like, and I think this is also a reason why we love to work with Beamswap, right? Is that it's quite a lot of assets that, hey, like they're here, right? Like we made it happen, right? Like USDC is not native of Polkadot, but in the end, it won't matter, right? Like for users, it won't matter. So it's here, they can use it, right? Everybody knows USDC, right? Like let's have USDC there, right? So I think that's great.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really excited to be partnered with Interlay things like that, and really being at the forefront of these XCM-enabled assets. And I think it's going to be an exciting time.
Nice. So before we end today's session, do we wanted to ask a very unique question that we prepared to Jay? Yeah, I think, yeah, 38 hours in advance. Who is your favorite Spice Girl?
Well, it's so hard. It's so hard to choose. However, growing up, it was always a battle between Posh and Sporty Spice for me. What about you, Alex?
Oh man. I have to be honest, is like this week was the first time I actually had to ask myself this question. But in all honesty, I did, like, when the song came out, right? Like, I did kind of hum it and every time I went on, and it's great for just going crazy if you're on the road and the passengers don't want to kind of stay put. The only Spice Girl that I did know beyond, like, the first song was actually, I think she's called Melanie C or Mel C, just because she pushed out other songs and some of them were quite good. So I'll go with her.
Awesome.
I actually do have one more question. If while we're talking about pop bands from back in the day, who was better, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
Oh wow, it's like better relative. Oh.
It is relative. There's no wrong answer here.
I don't know. I didn't for me, it was at the time when I got to listen to them, right? It was more about, like, hey, the sound is catchy, I'm gonna sing it again, and less than like, oh, they're my favorite. So I don't have an answer. I don't want to kind of arise any more tensions among the audience.
We don't want to cause a rift in this. We don't want to cause a rift.
I'm pretty sure this is on the list of things I'm not allowed to talk about. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, Alex and Moonlight, thank you so much for your guys' time. This was an amazing session, and I was like, we should definitely maybe get another one in the book sometime in the future.
Definitely.
Likewise. Yeah, likewise. It was a pleasure, and looking forward to collaboration and seeing also what Beamswap brings on board and how it helps expand the Polkadot ecosystem, and looking forward to kind of being present on Beamswap as well with iBTC moving forward. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.